the participants coming in the room.
I'll do that. Okay, we're streaming on YouTube. Everybody wave hello.
Yay! Hello, YouTube. Awesome. All right, somebody let Kenneth in, and I am going to share my screen.
Letting go means letting go, Sonia.
Depends on what I mean about letting go. You can't define my letting go for me.
Ah.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. For those of you who've never been here, who am I kidding? You've all been here before. But those of you who are watching from YouTube, I'm going to do an introduction real quick, and then I'm going to ask a few people to introduce themselves. So real quick, 1 Million Cups happens every Wednesday morning, and we are here talking to you from Albuquerque. And basically, 1 Million Cups is here to help entrepreneurs. We want to help lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all entrepreneurs. And we do that by having our local mission, where we work with creating a consistent program. So consistency meaning we don't just let anyone come up on stage, right? We want to make sure that they are a business, that they have at least one paying client, and we coach our presenters to make sure that they're not selling to our audience. And you see our beautiful audience there once upon a time, which we used to meet in person. And having our audience there means that the entrepreneur gets to connect with like-minded people. And let's see, what else we got? This is our region, and you'll notice that we're all out there by ourselves. What's nice is being online right now is that we can have people from all over the US join us to present and to, listen to our presenters. So for example, Paul Zotter, one of our organizers, has presented in Texas many times for his company. And so if you have a company and you've presented at 1 Million Cups, consider applying to another city that's doing it online, and you can connect with another group of like-minded people in another city. And our key pillars, again, it's presentations, not pitches. We don't, this is not the audience to sell to. This is an audience to connect and ask questions to. We're looking for authentic connections, not networking. So a lot of times, especially during after the presentation, when everyone gets to break up into rooms, you really get to connect with the people here, which is awesome. And it's run for the community, by the community, and we want to be radically and intentionally inclusive. So it means we don't just wait for people to apply as well. We go out and we look for all types of entrepreneurs and all types of businesses to present. And so if you have a company that has at least one paying customer, and like Paul said, it shouldn't be your mother, it needs to be a real customer who's paying for your product, then please apply. You can just Google 1 Million Cups Albuquerque and you'll find the application. And when I say by the community, for the community, I need to update this. So first of all, this is our organizing team. We have Paul Zotter, Lisa Adkins, who's my co-lead. We have Eric Rins Whitmore, who's been here forever. We have Bob C. Sanandale, Adam Sparks Brechtel, and of course myself. And then we also have a new art organizer. So Charles, say hello to everybody real quick. Are you there?
He's new and returning.
And Richard, he is new and returning. So welcome, Charles. Oh, he's coming back into the waiting room. Okay, but Charles Garrison is rejoining us as an organizer. So we're looking forward to that.
And in the meeting.
And the meeting. And these are our awesome sponsors. So normally, if we were in person, we would be meeting at FatPipe which sponsors 1 Million Cups as an event for their event space. And I am currently working from FatPipe this morning, and so is Lisa. And so FatPipe is a great place to just come in, rent a space, and work for a day. Really great internet. So I highly suggest it. Loza and Loza usually buys our coffee, More Than Organized, our creamer. Jason Collin Photography is our official photographer. And Noventum Custom Software Development normally brings in the donuts. So, you know, less calories so far since we're not meeting in person. And then eventually, Brian also brings in great baked goods too when he doesn't bring in donuts. So I'm looking forward to that day someday in the future. And real quick, I would love to hear from at least 3 people who want to introduce themselves because it sounded like a million people just joined the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and stop share. So who would like to introduce themselves this morning? Charles, how about you real quick?
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Charles Garrison. I'm an organizer with 1 Million Cups and also a business owner in Albuquerque. I own X10 Marketing Agency, and we've been in business for a little over 2 years now. And our next step, we just hired our first full-time employee at the beginning of this week, and we're expanding into Dallas in the coming month.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us and thank you for joining the team, Charles.
Thanks.
I see some new faces. Jen, why don't you introduce yourself?
Good morning. I am Jen Mullenix. I own a business called Gravitate, which was a modern and service-rich environment for people hosting corporate events such as seminars and workshops and retreats. I was open for 3 years, hosted 590 meetings. With the onset of COVID, I did close my business last spring, and now I am just looking for what is next. So thank you.
I loved Gravitate, Jen. I'm looking forward to see what your next business will be.
Aaron, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Aaron McAllister. I am the Director of Product Development for ABQ Bright. We make the world's most efficient lighting. And since COVID came, we sort of pivoted our direction from general lighting, all kinds of different light bulbs, to COVID fighting UV light. So right now we're developing products. We're working with Sandia National Labs to have studies on how air flows throughout rooms and where we need to put these mitigation devices. And we're still on the general lighting wave. And the reason it's so efficient is we hold patents for power supply technology. And Isaac, the CEO and founder, should be joining us soon.
Very cool. That's awesome to hear. All right. Well, and if you haven't already, feel free also to introduce yourselves in the chat and leave us a link to your websites or LinkedIn or whatever you want to do there. And so I'll hand it over to Paul.
Thank you, Sonia. So it is a great pleasure to introduce Alec Ferguson of Real Big Flix. We've had a lot of fun in our conversations, and I'm not going to step on his time. I'm going to let him take it away, but I first have to share my screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alec Ferguson, and I want to welcome you to Real Big Flix. I'm a fully mobile drive-in cinema that serves the greater Albuquerque area. Next slide, please. I want you to remember a time when family, entertainment, and memories were the only key elements needed to have an amazing evening in the core of American culture. When steel sleds and iconic tunes filled the evening air on a Friday night, when a milkshake and a burger were the perfect pair. Since our launch almost a year ago, I've had the opportunity to witness young children put down their iPhones and tablets for once and stare without blinking at my screen. Under blankets on top of vehicles, in the backs of trucks, lovers cuddling in one another's arms, I've made people cheer and smile, even some cry, all during a time when many have lost a lot, if not at all. My goal has been simple and still remains true to this day: to create a new sense of normalcy when at times it seems to no longer be in existence. Next slide, please. I started this business with a dream and a little bit of creativity. I retrofitted my semi-truck with a screen as a way to not only pursue my dream of the last 4 years of bringing a drive-in back to Albuquerque, but as a new way to safely socialize with my friends and family. To my surprise, it was a hit. This footage is from one of our first events that yielded over 150 cars. I had a 3.5 mile long procession all the way down Carlisle to Manal for people from Albuquerque. And we asked the community to bring non-perishable food and canned goods for admission. And we were able to raise over 500 pounds of food. Next slide, please. But in order to get there, I had to put in the work. Through a bit of trial and error and the help of some friends, we hand-built several custom variations of frames, all the while enabling the truck to remain dual-purposed. I've single-handedly funded and bootstrapped this business venture, and all my chips are on the table. Next slide, please. From that hard work came reward. I'm currently starting the build out of my first 10.5 acre permanent location, in which I plan on creating a safe and interactive facility for the community. My goal is to become the first streaming and interactive drive-in platform utilizing an LED screen. I plan to host virtual meetings, conferences, concerts, and anything else the mind may create. Our plans are to include a farmer's market, a skating rink, a dog park, and multiple food venues. Next slide, please. I've been blessed through all my sacrifices and hard work. And with that, I choose to give back. I've successfully raised over 4,500 pounds of food for local food banks and coalitions. I've collected and distributed over 200 fully stocked backpacks for those in need. I've raised money to sustain local youth sports. I've created a way to provide entertainment, advertising, and information to a multitude of different demographics. I was also honored with Volunteer of the Month Award by Mayor Tim Keller for my playground build in the International District. Next slide, please. Now, the question everybody wants to know. The opportunities are endless. First being advertising and marketing. Being able to get targeted media and information directly in front of an audience is very effective. From technology to car manufacturers to the Department of Transportation. I plan to create an outdoor event hall as well, and we'll be starting construction on my first stage for Performances Without Bounds. I plan to create, we've already hosted quite a few interactive meetings for several organizations and businesses wanting to find new ways to connect during our transition to our new way of living. And of course, I'll be showing movies as well. Starting and existing as a mobile platform, we've had the ability to provide drive-in experiences for a number of different events, from graduations to birthday parties. One of my favorite being a 60th birthday party for a client's father, while I sat front and center in his 1959 Corvette convertible and watched his favorite movie with his friends and family around. And last but not least, I see this continuing to grow and achieve its true potential by collaborating with those that can increase our reach by being like-minded dreamers. By forming relationships with larger companies and streaming platforms, I see my vision becoming a reality. Streaming is becoming the largest and quickest way that we receive and share information. I'm looking to collaborate with those with the same vision to hopefully aid in the areas of technology and creativity, making Real Big Flix the first of its kind. A place for creatives to be creative and the community to gather safely. We're more than just a drive-in. I plan to be the answer that we've all been looking for. In my 37 trips around the sun, I've learned the underdog is often steamrolled and doubted. This is not going to be one of those stories. Next slide, please. I'd like to thank you all for your time. I'm Alec Ferguson, and this is Real Big Flix. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Alec. So we're glad to open this up to questions and discussions. So please post stuff in the chat, and you'll be asked to unmute yourself and speak. When you do so, please introduce yourself and say the organization that you're with so we can all get to know you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul.
And I believe I'm up next for the question.
Go ahead, Sonia.
Okay. All right. So my question would be, I didn't see it in there. I'm not sure if you mentioned what challenges you might be facing. Can you answer that?
Well, where do I start? Well, as I mentioned, this has been a 4-year ongoing thing for myself. At first, just acceptance was the biggest thing. Reinventing and reintroducing the concept of the drive-in was a challenge in itself. Not a lot of people, there wasn't a lot of interest at first. I think it's funny that, now 11 months in, the drive-in is the new thing. It's amazing. Zoning, permitting, finding a permanent location was the hardest obstacle I had to overcome. Through a lot of hard work, I was able to secure that location. It's located on Eubank and Manal. I haven't launched this on my website or my social media yet, but currently we've been getting materials out there to start the development process. One of the main obstacles I faced is vandalism, and I'm trying to get Albuquerque on board with this. My whole goal, I want to be the next iconic thing here in Albuquerque, such as the tram. When people come to Albuquerque, I want them to say, man, you got to see Real Big Flix. My vision of this place is going to bring art to the community and a safe place for people to socialize and have fun. I want to connect the dots. I want a common ground for everybody to come together and share their love of artistry, music, just socializing, a safe spot for everyone. And so that's, I think, the hardest thing is just getting everybody together to be on board with this.
Kenneth Knoll, you have a technical question. Those are always fun. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm really interested in what you're doing. Technically, are you rear projecting, and are you using 4K projectors, and how are you getting the audio to the cars?
Good question. So currently on the truck, on the mobile platform, it's all front-facing projection. I do have several different variations, and so I have a screen where we will be doing rear projection. However, my goal is to switch over to a completely LED screen. The reason being with the LED screen is that I can get imagery up during the day, thus increasing profit potential. Also, we can bring back the matinee. My goal is to be the next AMC Regal Cinema. So people are off 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, come by Real Big Flix and see a movie. Also, it's dual purpose to where with the LED screen, I could be advertising. Advertising it's great. So I could be running advertising. As I mentioned in my presentation, the hardest thing that I had to overcome, one of the hardest things, is 11 months ago when I launched, I was bombarded with the demand for how do we do this graduation? We want to do a drive-in graduation at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Projection, it's light. It's near impossible. Mm-hmm. So that's where, through a bit of research and just some creativity, I'm thinking I know the LED screen would work best. But yes, we are doing 4K. My projector, it's pretty great. I mean, I'm around 3,600 lumens. It's a 4K projector. The imagery it's on par with probably the best TVs that most people have in their homes right now.
Right. The second part, I noticed in some of your pictures, you're using shipping containers.
Yes, sir.
Is that part of the, tell me about, or like to know a little bit about that.
Well, I'm from Austin, Texas, and the shipping container style has really caught on there for the past while now. I'm starting to see it, work its way into Albuquerque. There's two places in particular that stand out, Green Jeans and Tin Can Alley, both owned by the same owner. I want to bring that continuity throughout Albuquerque. I think as far as build cost. It's pretty efficient, but also it brings in a certain element that's just different from most buildings in the area. The shipping container look, what I like about it is the fact that it is a semi-permanent answer to a build out. If I were to build another movie theater, I mean, I'd be into this for millions of dollars. The shipping container look, the industrial look, it's a big thing that's happening right now all throughout the United States. And I kind of want to follow suit.
John Bell has a question about business focus. And again, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks. And Alec, this is great to hear you. So I'm John Bell. I lead up Next Now Digital, which is a new digital marketing consultancy here in Albuquerque. Moved here recently myself. So I guess my question is about business focus. I mean, it's a terrific notion. I mean, I myself went and saw drive-in movies during this past year at the Balloon Fiesta Park, and it was a great experience. And it was a great way to break up things and get back to a communal experience that I enjoyed. So it sounds great. I guess my real question is about, where is your business focus? Is it about creating a outside movie theater destination experience with quality programming and a great experience? Is it about creating private events? Is it about a myriad of other things beyond movies? You have a long list of things you aspire to do. So I'm struggling a little bit. I've gone quickly to your website. It's as you know, I'm not pointing out anything you don't already know. It's very out of date. What is the next thing you need to do?
Well, the next thing I need to do, John, I've already started. The biggest thing for me was finding a location. I was battling a lot with location, permitting. Being here in New Mexico, we've been open and closed. So that has played a big part into, I guess, the continuity of my business. It's been a very, very hard year for a lot of people. My goal with this, it's the name DriveIn. The DriveIn doesn't have to necessarily just be movies. I've had several events where it was kind of funny. A veterinarian association hired my company to interact with my screen while the president of the company was miles away through a Zoom presentation such as this. There was 90 cars there. They all interacted with my screen, and had their conference. And at the end of it, they watched a movie. In that moment, I realized it's like, I can use this for educational purposes. Schools with distance learning and things like that are happening right now. I have a lot of schools.
But let me just interrupt you, because I think you've got great potential. All of these things are really exciting. And I think you're dead on in that it could grow into, private events, corporate events, public education. I get all that. But one of the challenges you've got your space now, which I'm thrilled that you've got that. Is it more important for you now to establish a more singular focused business and with an eye on those variations coming up, or do you really want to try to do all of these things at once?
Well, I think for myself, John, I'm a dreamer, and I'm a veteran, and I accept challenges. My whole thing is that I don't like to limit myself to just one thing. The drive-in is great, and I'm glad you attended the Balloon Fiesta. To touch on that, I mean, I was the very first here, and that was a spin-off of a concept that I had. And I think it's kind of great that, movies are very important. However, having this technology and having the location with the demand that I've had, I have to open this up to everything. This could be, like you said, people want music. People want just a way to socialize. I mean, the way I look at this, so after this, I'll tell you guys, we're all friends and family here on YouTube, and you guys here. I am meeting with a big streaming company later on this afternoon. My goal is that if I could stream information from one location to the next in real time and connect the United States, if not the world, that is my goal. And it goes far beyond just movies. This could be anything, as we're doing right now. If we're not going to go back to our normal that we knew it as being a year ago, if it ever happens again or ever. So I'm trying to think outside the box to where I could use what I have to fill in those spots. And it's weird because I have nothing that I can look at that I can emulate. You know, I can't say that, oh man, I saw somebody else doing this, so I'm going to, maybe if I tweak this and did this is just one of those things you just got to go full fledged at and just see what works. But my whole goal, it's going to be a drive-in. At the end of the day, simple, cut and dry. It's a drive-in. How it'll be used, I'll figure that out as I go.
Cool. Thank you so
And-
much.
Yes, sir.
Stuart Rose, you have a follow-up question on business model.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if the permanent space is just going to be the permanent space, or if you're also going to continue with the mobile version as a component of the business.
So good question, Stuart. So absolutely. The mobile version will definitely still be going. Having the mobile version, I've been able to, take care of clients as far as Cuba, Cuba here in New Mexico, Santa Fe, different locations like that. The mobile aspect is very important and a key element to what I'm doing. It's helped fund a lot of this to get me to this point. However, I think having a home base and creating a permanent location is very important as well. I've had demand as far as Atlanta, Minnesota, LA, Texas, of course. And so the plan is, of course, I want to have a home base. And if I can franchise and get this business model out there, that would be the best thing ever. However, the mobile portion is still, it's a very key part of this business. Being able to, I want to be able to get myself, like for instance, APS. I've worked a lot with APS, Zone 2. They have 72 schools within that zone. Having that mobile platform, it's been great. I can go to them, I can set this up, I can change the tone of how large or how small I want the event to be. And so by being able to custom tailor the events to the people, I think is added to my appeal.
Miriam, and please introduce yourself. And you've had some nostalgic reflections and some suggestions and comments, so just take it away.
Hi, I'm Miriam Ortiz-Pino with More Than Organized. Sorry, Cam, I wrote Alec on the thing, not realizing that you had a nickname.
Not a problem.
So I want to build on both John and Stuart's points about having some sort of foundation to build on to try out the other ideas. And it doesn't mean you're limited. It just means you're focusing in order so that you can iterate and actually get some metrics of what's working and what's not. And you'll build a longer term, more sustainable business by focusing. I know idea people and dreamers have a lot, but you can't actually create success if you change direction every 5 minutes, because your customers don't have anything to glom onto to talk about you in that way. They can talk about it's a great, fun experience to go there, but then when someone goes, oh, well, what else do they do? They're like, so many things. They don't know how to describe what you do. I have the same problem, so I'm quite familiar with it. But once I started focusing on one thing and getting the foundation down and then adding the other stuff in, it was great. So that was just my comment. All the ideas are possible, just not all at the same time.
No, absolutely. And so I thank you for clearing that up. I mean, and so I guess I can go back to John's previous question. I don't plan on doing this all at once. I mean, I have 10.5 acres that I'm working with right now. These are all concepts of this is how I envision this whole place to be. My goal and my focus as of right now is getting my drive-in up and going, and that's where organically I'll grow from there. Like I said, the dog park, the skating rink and all those things, those are all concepts and how I see the whole location being built up to kind of beautify the area. Mm-hmm. I'm Real Big Flix. I'm a drive-in cinema. That's my focus. I've incorporated food trucks and different things like that. I will be building out co-op, semi-permanent locations for other food and restaurants to move in. That's a very big part of the drive-in, concept. But other than that, all the other things will happen in due time. I'm not trying to make all this happen at once. The drive-in is the key element to what I'm doing.
Got it.
Jen, you have a question.
Hi, Cam. I'm just curious how far along you are on your drive-in. Do you have a land lease in place? Have you secured other vendors, the contractor? And what is your timeline for that?
Absolutely. I do have a 1-year lease on this location. I have a very good established rapport with the family trust that owns the location, so I'm not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. As far, I mean, I'm fully insured, licensed, bonded, everything's ready to go. I have contractors in place to get this start build out. I've already dropped off materials. I'm actually, after this, I'm going out there right now to get some stuff situated and getting the new screen up. The goal was to launch this before Valentine's Day. However, I've been dealing a lot with permitting and different obstacles with that. And if you're familiar, the governor just opened up permitting, I think a week ago, for up to 40 cars. You know, like I said in the past, I've had upwards of 150, almost 200 cars. So we do have the allowance to have 40 cars. And so I want to get something going. But there are other hurdles, of course, with having these new locations. You know, I have every day I find out about a new permit I have to, submit in, and there's just a lot of little things that need to be done. So I'm launching this in the next couple of weeks. That's honestly where things are at. If not a movie, screen will be up, content will be shown, and I'm going to be ready to go.
Sonia, you have a question.
Okay, I have two quick ones. Number one is a suggestion, just to put this in your mind. You mentioned a roller rink. So I'm a member of Elevated Roller Derby, and we have a really hard time finding a space to play a game of derby to Albuquerque. And you might want to consider putting in a roller derby rink, because we will be there a lot.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, cool. The other thing is okay, so if we're following your Facebook page, is that where you're going to announce your opening? Like, how will we know when you open?
Absolutely. So I do have Instagram, Facebook, and as well, of course, the website. Yeah, I can tell you this. I am not the most technologically savvy person, so this has been a lot of trial and error. So as John pointed out, he mentioned the website being dated or what have you. I'm rolling with the punches. I have a construction company as well. So I'm one man running two businesses and just trying to make this all happen. So as I mentioned, from collaborations, from technology to, this is all a learning process for myself. So I'm doing the best I can. But I will be launching everything on Facebook and the website. I have a big following there, and I have a lot of great people within the community that reach out to me via Messenger and ask questions. And so it'll be up and going as soon as I can. Like I said, I just definitely don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse and launch something and then, oh, you forgot this, you didn't cross this T, and then, it doesn't happen. So I just want to make sure that everything's ready to go before I do that.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Thank you,
I think we can take one or two more questions. Jason, did you have a follow-on technical question? I'm watching all this scroll past in the feed.
Me, no. I looked up. It's only like 10 grand to get a LED projector or screen non-projector, it seems like. So that was surprisingly cheap for something that supposedly is like 30 feet by something feet. So I was surprised you can get something so cheaply for LED and not projector for outside. I don't know if that's what you've been seeing as well, but I was just curious about how you get a screen that big, LED and stuff like that, without it being monstrously expensive, like like the screens they have inside football stadiums.
Well, I definitely would like to talk to you after this if you found that. I've been looking left and right. I looked at local companies as far as possibly leasing the equipment to purchasing, and it's been upwards of $110,000 to $250,000 for a good sized LED screen. However, leasing the equipment, I'm looking at around $7,000 a month, and that's with a company out of California. And so that, with my lease payment and everything, it's just I got to grow this thing and make it happen, but I really need the support. I need people to come out. And so that's where the concept comes into where I need to have an event space. I need to have something that's going to make people gravitate to the area, that'll support and grasp onto the concept and make this happen. Or I'll be eating ramen and peanut butter sandwiches for a while.
I just posted the link in the chat. I don't know if it's actually what you need. It's like UOE, Ultimate Outdoor Entertainment. So I posted a link in the chat, what I found there.
Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for all your questions and suggestions. So I have two of the classic questions that we always ask. Since it's Million Cups in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I have to ask, red or green?
Green.
Green it is.
Green.
And finally, what can the community do for you?
My community can help me simply by believing in my vision. My goal is to become, like I said, the iconic symbol here in the city of Albuquerque, just like the Balloon Fiesta and the tram. I mean, those skilled in my field of computer technology and equipment would greatly increase my chances of achieving that goal. You know, I've heard and I've been introduced to a lot of great people so far, and from lighting to marketing concepts. I said, I'm a civil engineer. You know, I don't know what you know, but you know, by having this opportunity to speak to each and every one of you, it helps. You know, that's really what, and I need this feedback. You know, but like I said, this support would really, that's all I need. You know, I'm a hard worker, and I'm stubborn to a fault. I don't give up, and I hope to see you guys there someday.
All right, so thank you very much, and people will be joining you in the breakout room. So I'm going to kick it back to Sonia because she knows what's going on, and there will be 2 breakout rooms as far as I know, the COVID room with me and Real Big Flix with you.
Thank you, Paul.
Awesome. Yay. Well, usually I know what's going on. Let's see. Eric, do you have any events today?
Sure. Let's see. I'm just going to grab a couple of these things and throw them in the chat, but I'm just going to hit a couple of these. Yeah, so thanks everyone for being here. Good crowd today, and so glad to hear from Alec. Couple things to share. Let's see. One is that I think I may have mentioned this last week, but the good folks at New Mexico Angels are back, and they've been doing a lot of different events. They've actually got one going on right now, but immediately following our 1 Million Cup session this morning, they've got an office hours session from 10 to noon. In addition to that, on Friday, they've got an investor roundtable event that they're doing in association with ABQID, and that's at the nmangels.com/events. Different thing that I'll just highlight, Square Santa Fe has been doing a lot of great stuff, a lot of free different content for all sorts of indie entrepreneurs and folks who are typically at the early stages of starting their business. They've got one tomorrow that's about your sales technique and developing that process, and that's also in the it's also in the chat. And the last thing I'll probably highlight for right now, actually 2 things I'll highlight for right now. One is Adam's Friday Flow. Adam, who is on the chat, one of the co-organizers here, he's got a great Friday morning gathering to talk about a cool issue that relates to business. And this Friday is actually the one that's talking about relationships of family and business, and I think that should be fun. The last thing I'll share, and I will put some more on the left, is it's not an event, but you could be part of this event. So I will highly encourage folks to consider signing up. You know, I see some previous presenters who are in the room. I know other people out there have presented or know of other businesses that might be interested. It's a relatively painless process, relatively smooth. You get to work with great folks like Paul and the rest of the organizing team to help get your presentation into shape and spread the word about your business and how you might be able to help that grow. So I will encourage folks to do that. The easy way to get there is 1MCABQ.com. And that is all I've got for right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. All right. So next, we would love to hear your wins. If anyone has a win, feel free to wave your hand or post in the chat oh, Kenneth, go ahead. Go on, unmute yourself.
Yes, Invest New Mexico and our investors have purchased the Red Lion Inn in Grants, New Mexico. And the Red Lion Inn is going to be a conference center focusing on recreational tourism for the area. And so there'll be conferences and things that happen there that focus on recreational tourism. And hopefully we can bring tourism back to New Mexico because it's such an important part of our economy.
Awesome news, Kenneth. So when are you going to present at 1 Million Cups about this new business?
I maybe I'll have our manager for the facility present.
Okay.
But we will be looking for entrepreneurs and businesses to set up like bike tours and the area and those type of things. We're working with the Navajo bus tours, which will do a much greater tour of recreational tourism because they'll go all the way from the Navajo reservation down to Laguna and those areas. We're projecting probably next August to open. The facility needs some renovation, bring up to more modern rooms, and we will have a large stage there and a screening room for events that are going to happen there.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Kenneth. All right, who else has a win they'd like to share with us? Well, I know I'm like kind of tearing up because I had an exciting win this weekend. I have the short story-a-thon for my company Plot Duckies, where I help writers write stories, and we publish we start on Friday night, we end up on Sunday with a published story to Amazon, and my short story made the bestseller list on Amazon. I'm now a best-selling author, and it's thank you. It's a fractured fairy tale called The Glass Stiletto, and I'll post it in chat if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. That was my win. Who else has a win they'd like to share?
Okay, since everybody's so quiet, my big win is I'm in a phase 3 clinical trial for Novavax, and it became clear to me last week I did not get placebo. So if any of you are in clinical trials, I hope you have a lousy day.
Nice. All right, well, I think if no one else has a win they want to share, it's Lisa's turn to split us all up.
So Eric Renz Whitmore has an idea for a third breakout room. He would like to have a discussion about Clubhouse, which I believe is the new social media platform, right? Or not social media, but like
it's kind of a social media thing.
So he's going to host that room if anybody wants to go in it. Of course, if you have the right version of Zoom, you guys can go around to different rooms. I pre-assign those who have made requests. As soon as I open up the rooms, you'll be able to just go into them. Let me add Eric and Sonia to Clubhouse, and then I'll open up the rooms. Let's say goodbye